everybody. Hello, welcome back. How's everybody been doing? I've been, whatever that means, that's how I've been. It's been a little crazy lately, really busy. 'Cause 2 weeks ago now, I flew back to where my parents where all of my family and 99% of my friends live. So it was nice. I got to visit them. And then as soon as I came back, I went right back to work and the haunted house, which I love working at the haunted house, but it's also just like a lot sometimes. But today, my hair, I say this every time. I have some books. I just recently got into, I don't know why, like I've all of a sudden gained the urge to like find and collect old books. I wouldn't say rare books, because I'm not gonna drop like a couple $100 on a book, but just rare-ish or just old books that, like, if I look at it and it's like an older book, especially if it's in the horror genre, because that's my thing, then it's like, ooh, that's kind of cool, I want it. Because I've always been a reader. Of course, I go through phases where I literally don't at all. Like, if I'm too busy and I literally can't, then I'm either like reading all the time or not at all. And now I've just been kind of in the phase of just collecting up books, and I still have not like hardly touched any of these yet. But yeah, I've always bought books when I was way younger too, but I never really cared or recognized the value of like older, like first edition books. I would just kind of pick up whichever the cheapest version of that book was at Barnes & Noble. I didn't really care what it looked like or anything like that, but now I kind of do. I don't know, because there's something about the vibes of like an old gothic library where all the books, they're probably a little bit beaten and worn out, but they all just have that certain like look about them, and I just think it's really cool. So all of these that I'm going to show you, there's like 3 different places that I've got these from. One place was just a little bookstore back when I was visiting my family, and then the other is Powell's bookstore in Portland, and then just another local used bookstore near. I love used bookstores. It's just fun, especially if like you can find any hidden gems. Admittedly, I basically know next to nothing about actually recognizing valuable books. And in all honesty, even if I came across one that was, I guess it would depend on how valuable it was, but if it wasn't of the kind of genre or vibe that I'm looking for, I probably don't care that much. But let's see here. So first, there's a couple Stephen King in here. But this is a first edition book. This is the whole book itself. It's just split up into parts. But it's The Green Mile by Stephen King. And I think for all 6 of these parts, it was like $30 altogether. No clue if that's a good deal or if that was too expensive. I don't know. I just thought it was cool because you don't really see, no one publishes books like by chapter, you know, like individually. I will take the rubber band off and I know I've never even watched the movie. Obviously, I've heard about the Green Mile before. It's like super popular. But yeah, so it's all the Green Mile, but then part one is the two dead girls. I think, oh, let's see. Someone put their name in these, because it's in all of them. Let's see. But a dream would be to like find a Stephen King book or something with his signature in it. That would be really cool. I don't know really anything about what this is about. I'll read the back of this one. The two dead girls, they... Dog barking. Bark, 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 bark. Okay. They were sisters in the picture-perfect image of innocence. No one understood their brutal deaths, not even the man who killed them. But John Coffey is about to gain a new insight about his life in prison and about the one man who will walk him down that green mile toward destiny. You know what I would really like to find is back when Stephen King used to go by the alias Richard Bachman. I know that Rage is like, if you find a first edition of that, that could be worth a lot of money. Because I don't think that book is published anymore, or maybe it is, I don't know. No idea. Like I said, I'm a noob at this, so. But, so this is the first edition. It says first printing March 1996. Or someone freaking took a bite out of it. Forgot. The man himself. Wow. Enter the Green Mile contest. They don't have anything like this in new books anymore. The only thing I've read of this so far is the foreword, the like beginning part of Stephen King talking about why he decided to write this, basically. And then I kind of like where he says, I'm trying to find it. Basically that, oh yeah, in any case, I've decided to publish The Green Mile in a series of small paperbacks in the 19th century manner, and I hope you'll write and tell me, A, if you like the story, and B, if you like the seldom used but rather amusing delivery system. But he's saying that, like, with smaller publications like this, it's not like you can flip ahead to the end to see what happens. You know, you have to just kind of go one by one. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, Two Dick Girls. Second one is The Mouse on the Mile. And it says on the back of this one, Cold Mountain Penitentiary has been home to many troubled souls. E-Block, where the electric chair waits for those who must pay the ultimate price, has been home to the most troubled of all. And here, not all the evil is behind bars. Sometimes it carries a gun and wears a badge. Cold Mountain is a place of the damned, but it can also be a place where salvation comes from the most unlikely source. It makes me think of Orange is the New Black. Is this going to be similar to Shawshank? I read that like a long time ago because it's just like a tiny little short story, but all I remember is like a guy in prison. I never watched the movie for that. I probably should. I'm assuming it's one of those rare cases when the movie is better or more popular than the book, anyways. Because I read Shawshank, because I fully expected it, because I know it's like a whole movie. I fully expected it to be like a whole book, but it's like extremely short. And I was just like, oh, okay. Yeah, I don't really remember anything from it, so I'm assuming the movie must be pretty darn good, though. And then Coffee's Hands. Am I saying his name right, Coffee, or is it like Cafe or something? Alright, I'll show you the rest of these real quick. Ooh, I don't know how to say that. The Bad Death of Edward Delacroix, perhaps? And we got 5. Night Journey. And the last one, Coffee on the Mile. So yeah, that's those. And let's see. I'll show you the book that I got along with those at the same place. So this is like, I don't know, I think of like library book if it's like a hardcover, an older hardcover with like the my receipt fell out, with the dust jacket on it. Yeah. Another Stephen King, Nightmares and Dreamscapes, and another older picture of him. Was this a first edition? I don't remember. I don't know. Illustration. Maybe? I think it is. Oh yeah. Yep, it is. Found it. Yep, first published in 1993 by Viking Penguin. Yep. So this is also a first edition. Actually, no, nothing. I'm assuming it's a collection of short stories. Yeah, that's definitely what it looks like. Let's read this thingy. A solitary finger pokes out of a drain. Novelty teeth turn predatory. Flies settle and die on an old pair of sneakers in New York, and the Nevada desert swallows a Cadillac. Meanwhile, the legend of Castle Rock returns and grows on you. What does it all mean? What else could it mean? First there was Night Shift, then Skeleton Crew, and now Stephen King is back with a third collection of stories. A vast, many-chambered cave of a volume with passages leading every which way to hell and a few to glory. And then, yep. Yeah, it's pretty much cool. Let's take off the dust cover. Got a SK on it. I haven't really read any of his short story collections except Bazaar of Bad Dreams. That's what it's called, right? I'm not just making that up. Those were fun. Again, it was a long time ago, so I kind of don't really remember much of the stories now, but my brain is shocked. Alright. Okay, let's see. This one I got yesterday at a local used bookstore. And it is Richard Bachman, The Regulators. And if you don't know, Richard Bachman, I already said this, actually, yeah, is Stephen King. Sorry if you hear any weird noises. Of course, if it's really bad, I'll edit it out. But these apartments, bro. But I'm dumb, and I don't know. It's most definitely not worth anything. This is another first edition, though. But this is back when he went by Richard Bachman, and in my dense little brain, I'm like, oh, that means it must be valuable, right? If it's like originally published from his old alias, but I don't think this specific book, even though it's a first edition, I don't think it's valuable. But what I found funny is right here. Ooh. It says Richard Bachman died in 1985. Hold on. Wait. Okay, yeah, I had to look it up. So I guess he originally went by Richard Bachman because at that time in the 70s, publishing companies would only allow an author to publish one book per year. That's freaking crazy because they thought the market would be oversaturated and they wouldn't get as many sales or whatever if the author did more than one book a year. So he made up a new name so he could kind of bypass that, pretend he was someone entirely different, and also, I guess, to test if his book popularity was due to his actual work or because the book says Stephen King on it. So that's actually pretty cool. I didn't know exactly why he did that. But yeah, in here it says he died in 1985. Both Thinner and the Bachman books are available in paperback, the latter with a new introduction by Stephen King. The late Richard Bachman has been described as Stephen King without a conscience. It's a summer afternoon in Wentworth, Ohio, and on Poplar Street everything's normal. The paperboy is making his rounds. The Carver kids are bickering at the corner convenience store. A frisbee is flying on the Reed's lawn. Gary Soderson is firing up the backyard barbecue. The only thing that doesn't quite fit is the red van idling just up the hill. Soon it will begin to roll and the killing will begin. A quiet slice of American suburbia is about to turn to toast. The mayhem rages around a seemingly still point, a darkened house lit fitfully from within by a flickering television screen. Inside, where things haven't been normal for a long time, are Audrey Weiler and the autistic nephew she cares for, 8-year-old Seth Guerin. They're fighting their own battle, and its intensity has turned 247 Poplar Street into a prison house. Wow. That makes me think of the movie Weapons, the one that just kind of came out, with just like a house with like people. That's cool. Is this in the back? I don't know. Oh. I have no idea. There's this little doodle. Okay. But I guess, which when I was at Powell's bookstore, they had the frickin' Bachman books there. Now the Bachman books is one big book full of Richard Bachman's 4 first works. So the most popular being Rage, I think Running Man. There's one called Road Work. I know nothing about that. And one other one I'm blanking on. They were selling it for $200 at Powell's, but I don't know. I was gonna say, what if it's worth more than that? I could have bought it and sold it but realistically, I would not sell it, so. But if you find a first edition of just Rage, or like one of those original Bachman books, that would be worth way more. That's what I would love to just happen across one day. Of course, the likelihood of that happening is very slim. Because fucking Stephen, everybody knows. If you're a book person, then, you know, I don't think anyone would just let that slide, but a boy can dream, I guess. But yeah, that one's The Regulators by Richard Bachman. I haven't read any of these yet, by the way. Alright, now we're gonna go to the ones that I did pick up at Powell's. The first being The Sorrows of Satan. Now, my very smart little brain, what I did one day is I just Googled, like, what are the most rare books, and then this is what came up. But technically, I don't think this is worth anything because it's not a first edition. I think it was like the second round to have been published. Because, let's see, this one, it's a romance, apparently. There's a nice little picture. I'm gonna be very gentle with this. This one was published in 1904, and, 1904, and copyright 1895. So if you found an 1895 first edition of this, then that's pretty cool. But, I mean, this is definitely the oldest book I own, 1904. Yeah, so either way, still pretty cool. What's it about? I don't really know. I think I read The Thing, but oh, does this not have a thing that I can read? I think it's too old for that. Wow, look at the old ads in the back for other books. Why does it almost look like an ingredient label? Like at a glance. Wow. Pigs in Clover. And then the issue. Okay, it was trying to read it backwards. Okay. I don't think there's a blurb for this. Oh, this is smell of like really old books. Like all books smell good. New ones don't smell like much. Probably the least exciting out of all the book smells. And then ones from like, you know, like 70s, 80s, they have a more distinct smell, but then the older ones have a whole other kind of different smell. It's guess the year the book was published based off the smell. I'm just gonna read like the first tiny little bit. This book is already calling me out. Do you know what it is to be poor? Not poor with the arrogant poverty complained of by certain people who have 5,000 or 6,000 a year to live upon. This is old. And who yet swear they can hardly manage to make both ends meet, but really poor, downright, cruelly, hideously poor, with a poverty that is graceless, sordid, and miserable. Poverty that compels you to dress in your one suit of clothes till it is worn threadbare, that denies you clean linen on account of the ruinous charges of washerwomen. Wow, that robs you of your own self-respect and causes you to slink along the streets vaguely abashed, instead of walking erect among your fellow men in independent ease. This is the sort of poverty I mean. Wow, so in 1904, you could live off 5,000 or 6,000 a year. That's crazy. That's crazy, but just look how it's by Marie Corelli. Hope I'm saying that kind of right. Be very gentle. I'm just going to show you these two little guys, also from Powell's. This one, Conan the Adventurer. I don't know if it's just like, well, let's read it. I haven't even opened the thing yet, so let's do that. And I just got this one because I was like, ooh, it looks old. Introducing Conan, Introducing Conan, heroic fantasy's mightiest adventurer from the wilds of Cimmeria? Thief, pirate, mercenary, warrior, and general, he stands invincible, even when the full forces of the supernatural are unleashed against him. Set in the imaginary Hyborian age, between the sinking of Atlantis and the beginnings of recorded history, these four stories of the exploits of this larger-than-life hero are the ultimate in tales of swashbuckling adventure. Yeah, it's labeled sci-fi fantasy. Oh yeah. Let's see. Oh, it has a little bit of a nice little map. And is this the first edition? I don't know. No, I don't think so. Where does it say it? I can't find it. I don't think it is. Sometimes it'll say like, it'll just be like right there, but then other times it's like, I just see a million dates and I don't know what I'm supposed to be looking at. First published in Great Britain by Sphere Books, 1973. It gives like Berserk vibes, maybe? Because it's like there's supernatural elements, and it's like one guy that's killing everybody, and yeah, it just looks like that to me. It's another reason I got it. Alright, and the last one I have, I actually did buy this from the Rare Book Room in Powell's, and it's a Dean Koontz little tiny book. A Darkness in My Soul. And of course, if you know Stephen King, you probably know Dean Koontz. Oops. Admittedly, I've only read like maybe 2 to 3 books by Dean Koontz. But this, of course, back when it first came out, it sold for $1.25, and I bought it for $25, and I guess it's a rare book, but not super rare, if it was only $25. I don't know. Ooh, that one smells really nice. Really nice. Let's see. And this is a first edition, 1972. Yeah, alright. I just love this cover. It looks so cool. And this gives me, I don't know the correct print, like Akira, the anime / manga, the really popular one. Just because I like remember like the little boy or whatever, and then yeah. Although Simeon Kelly was the first successful product of the Artificial Creation Laboratory, this is already sounding like Akira, he would work for them only under compulsion, and the efforts they made to get him to probe the mind of their latest gene construct, a thing called child, were the greatest. This literally sounds exactly like Akira, because child was anything but that. In that incredibly monstrous infant appeared to be the potential for whole oceans of inventions, an entire cosmos of total creativity. But child was vicious, insane, and short-lived. The encounter of Simeon Kelly inside the self-created universe of child spans the crises of the present with the whole mystery of creation itself. This is possibly the most serious SF novel ever written by the rising talent of Dean R. Koontz. Super dope. Let's see. And then before anything else at all, it has this, so let's read that. There was a room of alabaster walls with hex signs painted every 5 feet in brilliant colors. There was a small and ugly child sitting in a black leather chair and 4 men standing behind him. The child looked up, his eyes and lips all but hidden by the wrinkles of a century of life, by gray and grave-like flesh. There was the glint of babyhood close behind that ruined countenance. His voice cracked like papyrus unrolled for the first time in millennia, and he gripped the chair as the words came, "You're the one." For the first time in many years, I was afraid with a deep and relentless uneasiness that was far more threatening than the fear which rose in me most nights when I considered my origin and the pocket of the plastic womb from which I came. You, the child said again. I don't like you. You're going to be sorry that you came here. I'm going to see to that. I looked at him, and within my soul I knew that in all the far reaches of the galaxy to the ends of the larger universe, in the billions of inhabited worlds that might be out there, no name existed for the child, simply child, with a capital. Child. He is pretty ugly. I feel like this has to be so similar to Aki. Like it has to be. Look how yellow. It's crazy. Alright, I don't want to finger this one too much. I'm gonna put her back in the jacket. But yeah, I'll do that in a second. Let's see. Wow, okay, this might be longer than I expected. I got really excited about my books and I was having a little yapathon, so I hope y'all enjoyed. I hope you guys are book nerds at least for watching all this, so I really appreciate it, of course. And I hope y'all have a good day, good night, whatever. And I will see you in the next video.